Hey folks, welcome to a rather impromptu top 10, because this one I kind of just had the idea of, and I think I shared the idea with somebody on my YouTube comments. I think we both I thought of it and then thought, will that go anywhere? And then someone came up with the idea as well, and it's like, maybe there's a reason for this, I don't know. But I also thought that this was going to be a problematic one to put together. And this is my top 10 games that escaped me. Or you could rephrase it as top 10 games that got away. So what on earth do I mean by that? Well, basically, I get to play a lot of games, but because of what I do or because I'm just obsessed with games. But there are so many games getting released at the moment that it's impossible to try them all. And there will be some games that I'll be like, that does look pretty cool, I'd like to try it. But then for whatever reason, there's no way to actually get it played. It could be because it's Kickstarter exclusive, too expensive for what I want to pay for it, it's just not got good distribution, or it's not available in this country. There could be all sorts of reasons why I've not already played it, but these are 10 games that I want to play. Like, I want to find out more about these games and get hold of them and play them. Now, I thought at first this was going to be hard. I thought, well, I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head, but that's about it. And I thought, well, okay, I'll sit down at my PC and let's see, let's type out this list. Okay, so that one, that one, that one, that was...
Damn, I'm possessed. Wonder if I can play the accordion too.
As I was trying to, get this done. And suddenly I've sprouted out like about 20 different items. It's like, oh, okay, there was quite a lot of games I want. So I've got a fair few honourable mentions. I don't believe there is a Patreon choice for this one, however, because this is kind of like one I'm doing off the cuff. There will be Patreon choices for the next top 10 list I'll be doing though, which is the top 10 deck/bag builders. And then after that, I suspect I'll probably be doing my top 10 underrated games to balance out the backslash from the overrated games list. And there'll be a Patreon choice for that. So this is more just kind of a tongue-in-cheek list I wanted to do. I don't know how much use this is going to be for anybody, so hopefully you're just getting entertainment value out of this. So without further ado, my number 10. Now, people will know that I'm not the biggest fan of the roll and write genre, because I like Harvest Dice and I like Imperial Settlers Roll and Write, the one that I've still got on my shelf. Although I have yet to find my Harvest Dice. It's not turned up here. I've got a few more shelf by shelf videos to do. Maybe it's behind one of those. Failing that, I think I've just had it nicked. So I certainly want to buy another copy of it. But those 2 are the ones that I go, yeah, these are the roll and writes I want to play. I've played Trails of Tucana, I've played Welcome To, I've played Ganschlon Clever, I've played all of these roll and writes and cartographers and more, and I just think they're all the same. They feel the same. Occasionally there's a twist with them like Silver and Gold and that, but nah, it's just not enough. This one though, I have not yet played, and from what I hear, it could really be something like a top 3 contender, and that's Let's Make a Bus Route. It's a Sashi game, I believe, and this is going to be a theme throughout this top 10. I only know so much information about these games, okay? I haven't, had the time to research every single one internally, because this is more a case of, oh, I really want to try this. But it will be interesting to see just how many people suddenly have giant golden exclamation marks above their head when I start running through these choices with little side quests to say, you must try this game, or avoid it like all costs. But with this one, I've always said that roll and writes are just multiplayer solitaire. It's like, whoopee, okay, I could play 60 people, Welcome To. Who cares? You're just doing your own sheet. You don't care what the other 59 people are doing, so why are they even at the table? But Harvest Dice and Imperial Settlers Roll and Write, well, actually no, even Imperial Settlers Roll and Write's kind of like that, but I like it for the solo mode. Harvest Dice is an exception. This could be an exception though, because instead of having your own pad, you are drawing on a communal sheet. You've got the map of the area with things like traffic and stuff like that, and a few other bits that you can cross off, but everybody's drawing on the same thing. So, okay, that's already upped the sense of interaction with other players. Suddenly, you being at the table now has a purpose beyond just socializing. And even then, it's kind of like, oh, that could mean there's quite a few ways to get in each other's faces or draw something where you don't want to be drawn. And it's like, okay, fair enough. And Sashi is essentially, I believe, they had a similar thing. I believe it's one of his games. I feel pretty certain it is. Yeah, Sashi, coffee roaster. Love this game. And there's a lot of other Japanese games by him that are very popular. So I thought, I would like to try this at some point. I'm not desperate, it is my number 10, but if somebody has a copy of Let's Make a Bus Route, you know, for a quickie filler that we could get done in 30 minutes or something, I'd be up for trying it and to see whether it could actually sort of go against the curve for what roll and writes tend to be. And number 9, a certain follower of this channel is going to have fun with this one because, bless his heart, he has tried to get me a copy of this game for ages. When I said that I wanted my own copy to try it, constantly, well actually not constantly, but occasionally I get a message from him saying, so-and-so selling this for this much, so-and-so selling it for this much. Oh, have you checked this German random website? They might have it. And all the time I get there, I'm either too late or the person is trying to scout me. I want to try and get this game, but I am not prepared to pay inflated prices just because it's out of print. I'm not here to be like ripped off. And that is Carcassonne the City. I've got Carcassonne, how much longer for, we don't know, because Small Islands is kind of replacing it. But the city is one that I keep hearing Z Garcia talk about all the time on the Dice Tower. And it's like, okay, so what's so special about this one? Well, okay, so you're building the internal bit of a city. Yeah, that's normal Carcassonne. And then you start building the walls around the city. It comes in like this cool brown box, it's got the wall pieces, and basically the map sort of spreads out, but then as the walls come down, it starts getting more restricted. And you can put meeples on the walls as guards that overlook the city, and you get points based on where they're looking. And it's like, okay, that's quite cool. But that being said, that could just simply be a Carcassonne expansion. But the fact that this has a kind of almost 3D look to it, with the idea that, yes, I'm actually building a city, I'm not just building a giant map, there's purpose to this city, and by the end of it, you've got a fully walled off city with stuff inside it, people on the thing, and it's like, oh cool, that'll probably be like the most thematic Carcassonne you can possibly find. Of course, I don't want to pay £80 plus for this thing, you know, it is Carcassonne with a twist at the end of the day. So, as much as, you know, this chap is, you know, very welcome to keep trying and find me a good copy of this game at a decent price, you know, not ripping off prices. At some point, I hope to acquire this and try it. You know, I reckon this could be a Carcassonne that I would go, oh, okay, I'll keep Small Islands, but I'm going to keep this Carcassonne, and maybe I won't need the original with the expansions anymore. You know, it could well happen, but I'm keen to have a look at this one, hence it's on my list, but like I say, if I can't find it for a suitable price, I'm not going to be like, you know, tossing and turning in my sleep, wondering, oh, Carcassonne, city. No, it's not going to happen. But you never know if the money is right. My number 8 could be the one on this list that kind of backfires in my face, like right royally, because it should be good, I think, but I don't hear anyone talk about it. It's not got a lot of buzz, but theme sounds cool, and that's Shakespeare, a 2015 Euro where you are the theatre manager getting all the people together, like, you know, costumes and props and the dancers and that, in order to put on your play at the end of the week. It doesn't look great from an aesthetics point of view, which is a little off-putting, but that theme sounds cool. But I don't know a great deal more about the game to sort of go, right, is this going to be great mechanically? Because most Euro games kind of sound the same mechanically. But it's like, okay, maybe if the mechanics are tied well to the theme, and if I can get immersed in that theme of putting on the play, making jokes, you know, banter talk with like, you know, your play's going to suck, you know, what do you need like 5 dancers for and nothing else? Is, you know, you're just doing a can variety. And maybe that could be something I like. But this could literally slap me in the face if I'm not careful, because I might end up playing it and going, right, let's get immersed in the theme, and then I could find it's a dry, boring slog. You know, it's happened to me before, where somebody's bait and switched me with a promising theme and then gone, no. So this is the one I'm kind of worried about, hence it's like lower down on the list. But I can't find it anywhere. I don't think you can get it new anymore. I've not seen it on bring and buy sales. I just don't think it's sold many copies. Because I think it's a Yastari game, if I'm not mistaken, and they're not exactly great for aesthetics, but they're also not necessarily great for having a lot of copies of it either. So I just have not seen a physical version of Shakespeare anywhere. But I'd be more than up for trying it if I spot it and it's in your bag at a convention. My number 7, to get on to a slightly more, shall we say, more, I don't know, big miniature style game, is Lords of Hellas from Awakened Realms. You know, I'm getting into their stuff. You know, they're not perfect games, although I do really like this War of Mine, but even that's got problems here and there. But, you know, I've already kickstarted the Great Wall, Ether Fields, I like these two. You know, I want to try more of Awakened Realms stuff. And Lords of Hellas is the one game that I've wanted to try. I've seen it being played at conventions, but never got the chance to play it myself. I've either been too busy, or they didn't have space, or, you know, or they were just playing with their friends. And anytime I thought I could acquire it, it's always because somebody's selling like the all-in Kickstarter pledge. And it's like, look, I want to try a game, but you know, I've got to have a pretty good certainty that I'm going to get it to the table often before I want to fork out that much money for a game.
So I say do it. Do it. Do it, do it, do it.
Although, that being said, I do spend a fair bit on Kickstarters. Like as of late, I think I backed, what did I back recently? The Mythic Games one. Hell, Last Saga, I backed that one, and that's not exactly a cheap game either, so I suppose, you know, it kind of depends. But I think it's because when I've read up more on the game itself, Lords of Hellas, there's been mixed feedback about it. I mean, some people adore it, and some people go, oh, that's unbalanced, and that doesn't work, and this is a bit fiddly, and that. And as soon as you start reading that, it starts making you question whether the money is worth it. So this is definitely a try before I buy affair, but it sounds cool. I mean, you know, asymmetric like heroes, you know, fessing up to all the different like Greek inversion gods, and going around in either controlling temples, areas on the map, or slaying giant monsters, all with cool miniatures and that, constructing things. It's like, it seemed pretty sweet. Sounds like a game I would like, you know, certainly for a strong theme and pretty decent aesthetics. But why is it getting the mixed buzz? And does it justify that much money? I don't know, but I would certainly like to try before I buy, and hopefully there'll be a time in the future when I can. My number 6 is we're going to much more simple games now again. We already had the like Carcassonne in that. We then went up to slightly more Yuri. Now we're going to gateway level games, and I could just literally go out and buy this if I want. But the problem is, I'll only be playing it solo for the time being. I kind of want to play it in a group setting and see what it's like. I'm not the biggest fan, though, of the campy horror stuff. But in a game, it could work theme-wise, and I just hear nothing but praise for Horrified. Horrified being this new sort of mainstream gateway-level game, which has got similarities to Pandemic, but you're going up against one of the campy old villains, like Dracula, or the Invisible Man, or the Werewolf, and it's as far as I'm aware, you're just moving around the map, trying to complete certain objectives or rescue people, while of course dealing with the nasty stuff that the main adversary is doing. So you've got a different style of game depending on that adversary. It's apparently got very simple rules, it looks pretty nice aesthetically, and it's just getting buzz. You know, Tom Vassell, Z, and the rest all go for it. I've heard a lot of other people praise it. I could literally just go out and buy it, I think, because I think it's available now and it's not that expensive, but do I want to play it solo? This doesn't sound like a game I want to play solo. This sounds more like I want to get 3 or 4 people together that don't know games that well, and it's a co-op, therefore we can work together. So maybe something more for, not my family, but maybe to take to my Portsmouth Game Club or something, because that tends to be more people who aren't that used to games. So it's on my list that I do want to try this one quite badly, but just not by myself. I feel that I'm a little bit premature to go buy it now, and I don't think it's on any of the tabletop simulators or Tabletopia to my knowledge, but you know, I'd be interested just to try it, because I mean, it's a cheap enough game, it's quick, it's not like I'm losing much by trying it and finding out, it's not as good as I thought, but I like gateway games. I would like there to be more of them and less of these 3-hour monstrosities. So if Horrified can be one of those really good ones, I'll be singing the praises about it. But, you know, just a little bit, just don't feel like tackling it solo. I want to tackle this with the co-op feature that it should have. My number 5. You know, that should give you a bit of a clue. Yes, I do like these polyomino style games. Most people have had their Kickstarters for this by now. I have seen it played. I could buy the basic version, but I'm kind of like, it's still not the cheapest game in the world. But the Isle of Cats is getting some decent buzz. And being a polyomino style lane game, I should like it. I don't believe that I'll hate it. But there's a couple of things that I'm a little concerned about, and why it's sort of escaped me. Firstly, the price for buying it in the shops was not the cheapest thing in the world. Secondly, as much as I like polyomino style lane games, I already have Baron Park, which is currently my pick of the bunch. And I like them. I think I've even got Patchwork. But it's going to get to that point like roll and writes, like when you've seen one, you've seen them all. So what does Isle of Cats do that's any different? I have seen it played though. It does look gorgeous. You know, those tiles with the cats all over it, fantastic. I love cats. Cats are like, I mean, next to bears, I think cats are my favourite animal. You know, that I do really like cats.
I don't think any of us expected him to say that.
So I'd be, you know, getting into the theme of it. But there's a little thing I'm a little concerned about. The time length. I've seen games of this go on a fair distance, and with more players, it seems that there's quite a lot to juggle with these objective cards that you use. And the worst thing I saw was, I probably won't need to worry because I won't go into this game doing this, but somebody I knew got the game with the Kickstarter expansion, and it allowed them to play with up to 6 players. So at the convention, I think HandyCon actually, the last HandyCon, my friends played a 6-player game of Isle of Cats. I was able to play 3 entire gateway games with other people while waiting for them to hurry up and finish their game. What on earth was going on there? And as I looked over, I could see people sort of like on phones, like on downtime, or people taking forever to do their turns. And granted, that might have been down to the player sort of APing a lot, but it looks like with 6 players, it's just a complete mess. Like all these cards strewn everywhere, you know, the objectives keying off multiple people, and it just looked like the downtime in it was just ridiculous. Most people I know do kind of say, oh, we'll cap it at 3 players. So it's like, all right, great. But then that means I'm only going to get to play at 3 players because I don't know if this has a solo mode or not, and I'm not really going to get to play at 2 players very often. So I want this to work at 3 and 4 before I want to shell out the cash for it. But as soon as somebody says, oh yeah, we got Isle of Cats, do you want to play that 3 or 4 player? I'll jump in, I won't say no. Because I really do want to try it and see if it can be of the same caliber as Baron Park. But it's a tall order. I mean, it may look aesthetically better than Baron Park. It may, you know, maybe have a little bit more meat. But then if it's going to take 3 times longer than Baron Park to play, at least, it's going to falter because that is so simple to teach people. It's a 30-minute game, and the expansion has improved it even more if you want to play it in more of a gamer setting. So it's a pretty high bar for you, Isle of Cats, but one, you know, hopefully maybe the cats will win me over. And if they don't, oh well, more food for my bear. My number 4 is based literally just off word of mouth, and the fact that the game sounds exactly like the sort of game I should like from a card play perspective. Done by Carl Chuddick, who, you know, has done my Innovation. I think he did Motonai as well. Both card games I really like, you know, particularly Innovation. And I'm thinking, right, so multi-use card games seem to be his, like, shtick. And from whenever I mention I love multi-use cards, the one game that gets mentioned to me more than any other one possible is Glory to Rome. It's in a black box. It may look like a pig's ear from an aesthetic point of view. I mean, it certainly doesn't exactly look great on the cards. But a city building resource management game where the cards are pretty much everything. The buildings there, the resources there, other, you know, their various, you know, special abilities, and the fact that what you discard is available to the opponents in some way. I don't know much more detail than that, but it's like, that sounds really up my street. Like the ultimate god of multi-use cards as a mechanic. That could be really good. I mean, if we're talking like Innovation, where the cards have got multiple uses and could have, you know, like you've got to play tactically based on what sort of cards you get, it could be really good. This could be really good fun for me. And if it is, then fantastic. I will try and fight my way to find a copy of this. But is this going to work multiplayer though? Because I don't recall if it's actually multiplayer. No, 2 to 5 players. But will it work with more players, or is it just going to get stupidly complicated and too long? That's the little bit worry I have, because Innovation can do 2 to 4 players, but you don't really play it more than 3 if you can help it, and even then it's best as a 2-player. So is Glory to Rome just going to be another 2-player game, in which case I'm kind of restricting on when I'll get to play it. But even though aesthetically I think it could have been a lot better, you know, but maybe it's too old to have that much, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, Innovation doesn't exactly look great, does it? But I'm interested. Multi-use cards, city building, could really be something I go mad for. But I've never seen it on the shelf. I've never seen anybody bring it to a club night. I've just not seen this game. And I must admit, I can't wait for the amount of comments from people in the UK who are going to be like, oh, next time the conventions are all back on, I'll bring this game for you and bring this game for you. Fantastic. I'd love to play with you guys, because unlike other people on YouTube, if you want to play a game with me, that's not exactly out of your reach to play a game with me at conventions. You know, it's not like I'm in a special guest room anywhere only playing with the other guests. You know, it doesn't work that way. So by all means, keep bringing these games if you think I'll enjoy them. But yeah, Glory to Rome, my number 4. Don't know a lot apart from the fact that it uses the one mechanic I love to bits, like more than most other mechanics, in a big way. So here's hoping. Fingers crossed. My number 3 could technically be 2 games, but I'm not gonna. I suppose it is 2 games because they've got a similar appeal to me. So I'm gonna pick one preferably for the list, but I will mention another. Nah, that's an honourable mention. Not gonna cheat. Just one game. Right, and you'll probably be able to guess what the other one is, but I like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is a great theme for me. I love, I like the books. I had it as an audio book, and it's like, blimey, is this a story or a musical? It seemed a little bit over the top on the music. But, I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love Lord of the Rings Journey to Middle-earth. I love my LCG. I love Lord of the Rings. So there are some Lord of the Rings games that have escaped me. One is an honourable mention. The other is Battle of 5 Armies. I only ever see this on second-hand sales, and even then, not very cheap. I mean, because it's, I think, out of print, everybody's trying to scalp people on bring and buys, as they always do. But a 2-player asymmetric game where one people are the good guys and one people is the bad, doing that iconic Battle of 5 Armies with a cool card system where the bad guys are trying to wipe out the good guys and the good guys are trying to hang out, survive long enough for the eagles to appear and beyond the bear and stuff like that. It's like, okay, this could be really good. I mean, a kind of like a tactical battle game, not requiring, I don't think it has, does it have miniatures? I can't remember. Cool. But, just basically a 2-player head-to-head Lord of the Rings skirmish game. That could be really cool, and especially when you don't have to buy, the actual skirmish and miniatures game to do something like that. But will it be any good? I don't know, and it's high up because of the Lord of the Rings theme. This sounds like a game I would really enjoy, but it's just hard to get hold of for cheap, because I have to wait for a second-hand sale, and one in good condition, and one that's not been scalped. So it's like, no, I don't know. I don't think this will ever come back into full print, which is a bit of a shame, but I can't even recall if it's even in a library at any of my cafes. I don't think the Portsmouth Game Cafe has got it, but maybe if they do, if Dice Portsmouth do have it, then maybe I should give it a look-see and just get it out, learn it, and see what happens. But for Lord of the Rings, you'll hear about another one soon, and you've probably guessed what it is by the fact that I'm talking about Battle of 5 Armies, but this is my preferred one that I'm looking for. My number 2, I haven't played mainly because of its price. I mean, I could acquire this game, but if I want to acquire this game, there's a lot of content for it. And there was a lot of sort of Kickstarter exclusive stuff to make it even better, and I'm thinking, am I missing out because I don't have that? But I almost got tempted to buy a ton of this at the UK Games Expo last year when Chip Theory Games had a booth there, and they had cool stuff in it, and I thought, this does look interesting, but my god, does this look a bit convoluted and complex, and is this going to be streamlined, or is this going to be a complete nightmare to control? Is it good solo? Do I need to play it in a group? And that is I nearly forgot it for a second. God, how could I forget? Yeah, Too Many Bones. Too Many Bones with these funky chips and a dice builder RPG, as it's referred to. So you've got your characters with these neoprene mouse mats where you use these dice to do actions and level up your character and go on adventures. It's like, okay, a thematic, story-driven narrative adventure with a different theme. I'm all up for that. That much is appealing to me greatly. The only 2 worries, as I mentioned, one being the convolutedness, but second, just the cost. There was a lot of stuff for this game. I mean, if you want to acquire even just a base set, nothing else, just the base set for this, it's not the cheapest game in the world. And then you start throwing the add-ons and other bits on top, and it's like, blimey, this is ratcheting up. I think it was going to cost something like 200, 250 quid at UK Games Expo to buy everything that they were selling there. And it's like, I kind of just want to know how it plays, but rather than actually demoing it, they were just simply showing it off. And it's like, and that kills me at conventions where you sort of go, oh, here it is, it's amazing. Give us a ton of money and we'll buy your game. No! You want me to fork out nearly £200 for this game? Then show me the game. Show me how it plays. Give me a demo. I'm not, you're here at a convention, not on Kickstarter. Therefore, I want to demo the game first before I'm going to open my wallet for you. That does get on my wick sometimes, but that's the main thing. Just cost. cost and a worry that it's going to be a bit too overly complex now. And as much as I hear good praise about it, I only hear it from a die-hard collection of people. Like, this is one of those games where it's like, oh, there's only so many people that have it, but the ones who have it love it. You know, it's like, it's kind of like the Gloomhaven thing and the Kingdom Death Monster thing and that, you know, these big crates of games that are hard to get hold of for most of the time, cost a pretty penny and probably are out of the sort of technical levels of many gamers. But, you know, people who have them, love them and give it 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 everywhere. So it goes up the rankings on BGT. We already know it's a broken system, but, you know, so it's got the buzz, but that's a lot of money to shell out for this game, you know. But as I say, it's my number 2 because I feel confident I should like it. It's just pushing that investment point or finding a good way to get maybe just the base set. I may look this up because it just, I don't know. Will it be good? Will it won't be? Hard to say, but part of me is really tempted to go out and get it, but I might make it, I gotta think, gut instinct. Is it, you know, should I activate the brain or activate my gut? Because one of those is right, the other is wrong, and I dread to think which one it is. And my number 1, most of you probably haven't even heard of this game, but I've had a few people talk to me about it recently, particularly on the Solo Gamers Guild, like famous Facebook, and I'd never even heard of it. I thought, what on earth are you on about? I've missed both Kickstarters that have run for this game. I barely know anything about the company that's releasing it. I know next to nothing about the game other than it's kind of a cross between Street Fighter, Double Dragon, and a 1 to 4 player co-op game with skirmish miniatures and that. And okay, so, okay, I've seen that before many a time. Is this any better? I don't know. Oh, each of your heroes has their own individual deck of cards that you use and stuff. And it's like, oh, so that's why. Because they've been comparing it to my favourite game, Sentinels in the Multiverse, and this is Street Masters. I don't know much about this game, I have to say, and I don't even know if there's any way I'm ever going to be able to acquire it. I think you can buy it from a US site, but then it costs a pretty penny, and then I think it would be impossible for me to ship. I'm not even sure if it's even available on that site, so I don't think there's a way I'm ever going to be able to acquire this game. And that kind of adds to the why it's my number 1, because it really has escaped from me. But, you know, I really want to try it. Because people keep bringing it up every time I go on about Sentinels in the Multiverse. And it's like, if you're comparing this game to my favourite game of all time, it better have some similarities or it better give me that same feeling. Because if it does, it could be like a winner. Like a really solid game, especially as more people say it's best solo than it is with a group of people. So it's like, great. So this could be a solo contender for Sentinels in the Multiverse. Granted, superheroes will, you know, kick the snot out of like Double Dragon, Street Fighter, and all that sort of governs, you know, hands down. But martial arts is cool. You know, and I think that it's, like I say, it's done in that style. So you've got the, I don't know if the nationalities are right, but like, you know, the kind of Chinese and Japanese martial arts represented in the game. 1 to 4 player co-op. Cool. So none of the semi-co-op rubbish. And, you know, could it be a game that I've just missed out completely, that I need to be like kicking myself for not getting? It looks expensive, especially with all the sets they've done. But if they do another Kickstarter for this, maybe like for an expansion and that you can get all the previous stuff for it, I'll be very tempted to shell out my money for it. But somebody has come up to me and said that they do have this game and may be willing to bring it to a November GridCon if GridCon in November actually still happens, rotten coronavirus. But if it goes ahead and they bring it there, that will probably be the first game I'll want to play and head straight for, because that's the big fingers crossed. It's like, could this be as good as, or at least a contender for, Sentinels in the Multiverse? That is the highest bar you could possibly set for your co-op game, but mechanically it sounds really cool, thematically it sounds cool, and it's got a lot going for it, so it had to make my number 1. This is the one that I'm definitely like, really want to try this out badly, but I don't think I'll get to see it until at least minimum November, so I guess I better learn some patience. You know, I've got my little miniature Yoda thing in the other room and I still don't know anything about patience. So, yeah, top 10 games that escaped me. And, like I say, not the most useful of lists, I admit, but maybe there's 10 games here that some of you are going like, how have you not played this game? You must play it immediately, you know. And some of you might be like, oh, don't worry, you haven't lost any sleep. Avoid this game garbage. But to be honest, I've talked about some pretty good games on this, like popular games on here. I'd be surprised if there's many that people, like, as a common group are going garbage. I think there's going to be followers of a lot of these games. But to go more into my honourable mentions, there's a good few, 7 of them. Nice and quick, well, I talked about Battle of Five Armies, so War of the Ring is the other one that I was talking about. Looks very long, very sort of complex. I don't know if I'll ever find a scenario when I'll ever be able to play it regularly, but it's Lord of the Rings, and a big epic Lord of the Rings game. I'd like to try it at some point, but someone's going to have to teach me it. There's no way I'm going to be able to learn it myself, but it's something I would like to try. Then we've got Spirit Island. Now, I set myself a caveat for this list that I haven't played any of these games. Carcassonne City might be a slight cheat, but technically I haven't played that one. So, yes, I know it's Carcassonne, but I haven't played the city. I have played Spirit Island once, and I got a decent impression from that play. So I couldn't really put it on this list, but it's an honourable mention because I kind of would like to play it again. My first impressions were kind of mixed on it. You know, I thought this is way too long for what it is. I thought this is a really complex game rules-wise for how simple the game should be if it was just streamlined a bit better. And thirdly, aesthetically, I thought it was a bit bleh. You know, the spirits look cool, like your player boards, but the map in the middle, there's titchy little figures and that to represent like the English forces and that, oh, it looks horrible. So aesthetically, I'm not particularly happy with it. But people talk about this a lot as a solo game, and I do like my solo games, not for the want of trying to get more groups together, but still. And could I be maybe I just had a bad first impression, you know, a bad teacher, you know, too long, played it in the wrong setting, who knows. I wouldn't say no to having to go at it again, possibly solo, so I hear there's an app for it, you know, a digital app, or maybe there's actually no, I don't want it on Tabletop Simulator, I need the app to help me through it. So yeah, if there's like a Steam app for it, then maybe I'd be tempted to try Spirit Island again. But, you know, or maybe play it as a 2-player if someone's willing to teach me properly. But it just sort of like, I enjoyed the gameplay of it. It sounds like I'm ragging on it. No, I enjoyed the co-op nature of it. I thought thematically it was cool, and there were some good decisions to make, and I think we just won it. And the variety in this game with all the spirits and all the difficulty ratings with the different forces is amazing. I think it's really, really good. But it just, I've got to look at it all day and know I'm going to be looking at it for a long time. I don't know. It's, you know, I got rid of Ethnos partially because it looks like a dog's dinner, and I don't want to have the same problem with Spirit Island. But it's an honourable mention. Then we got Mechs vs. Minions. I've not personally ever played this, but looks the business. You know, a programming game, I don't know, but mainly just because it looked good for families, and I thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind trying Mechs vs. Minions at some stage, but I wasn't too fussed. Aura and Labora. I like a lot of Rosenberg games, particularly the sort of farming-esque ones. Aura and Labora and the Gates of Loyang are the 2 that I have not played that I think are more famous out of them. And I don't know enough about the Gates of Loyang to really comment. Aura and Labora sounds like it's pretty cool with all the different resources and farming stuff you do. Again, don't know much more than that, but I will probably easily say yes to anybody who wants to show me a new Rosenberg game. So, can't really deny that. Memoir 44. I've not played Memoir 44. What? Sorry, it's a 2-player only game with a war theme. I'm not big into war themes, and 2-player only games are hard for me to get to the table. Now, I have played the Command & Colors system with Command & Colors Ancients in an 8-player Overlord scenario, and that was good fun. Bit of downtime, but it was good fun. And you know, with Memoir 44, it just sounds like a nice, easy 2-player head-to-head game with lots of different scenarios. I would probably enjoy it, but I've just not had the chance to play it with anyone. It's just completely escaped me. And then 2 more, Sidriel, I don't know how you pronounce it, Sidriel Confluence. This one I'm a little bit more hazy on because I like negotiation games. Long negotiation games have to do well to keep me engaged. Now, granted, New Angeles, 3-hour negotiation game, but the theme is perfect in that and I like that game. But Sidriel Confluence has the negotiation aspect, but you're basically negotiating for cubes. It's like, oh, you got these texts now. It's basically cubes, and more cubes. And it's like, oh, great. So is this going to be like a really dry Euro game where the space theme is inconsequential and it's just basically trading for cubes? Is it going to be like that? And is it going to be too complicated to figure out what on earth you're supposed to be negotiating for as a result? Without the theme, it's hard to tell. In this, yes, it's 3 hours, but because the Netrunner universe and the corporation name and the map with all the stuff on it is so easy to tell what the situation is, it's easier to know what you're negotiating for. This one could be a problem, especially the length and complexity that I've seen this game when my friends have set it up at conventions. Unfortunately, things are not the best between somebody I know who has this game and that, but hopefully somebody else can show me Sidereal Confluence, preferably in person. Some people have tried to play it online. I don't like the idea of playing a negotiation game over internet voice chat. That just sounds a bit weird. And then finally, Xia, Legends of a Drift System. Never got this one to the table. Never. I think I know one person who has it. And even then, I hear nothing but the same thing about it. It's too long and quite random. You know, the random element would put me off a bit. But I've seen playthroughs of this game with 3 or more players, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is long. Like, this is crazy long and doesn't need to be. But from the length and complexity-wise of it, it sounds like it pretty much should only be played as a solo or 2-player game. So I've not, you know, when people have said, oh, we're playing Xia, but hang on, there's 3 or 4 of you. No, I'm just, it'll be the worst experience, not going to happen. Somebody has got to sit me down and play it with me as a 2-player game. Otherwise, I just don't think I'll ever get a chance to try it. So if I don't try it, there's more games around. So there you go. Games that escaped me. You know, like I say, tongue-in-cheek list. I just kind of wanted to talk about it. You know, I thought it was a interesting idea. It was backed up by a YouTube commenter, so I thought, you know, why not? You know, maybe you've got something out of this. Maybe you could advise me. You know, because I'm doing these top 10s. You know, for your entertainment and to show you more games that you could consider. But for a list like this, I'm not really showing you games that you yourselves could consider for yourself. This is more the other way round, where I'm coming up with 10 games I want to try, and now it's up to you all to kind of advise me on the best way to go about, you know, playing these games, whether it's meeting up with you at a convention or finding a cheap source for it or trying it out on Tabletop Simulator or whatever, you know. And these are games I want to try. So I'm relying on you lot to advise me for a change. And like I say, you know, give and take, push and pull, it's a two-way thing. So, you know, until then, my next top 10 will be top 10 deck/bag builders. I'm looking forward to that one because this was a positive list. The next one's going to be a very positive list. I really do enjoy deck and bag builder games. Although, there's going to be a couple not on that list that you're probably, you know, thinking, sacrilege, why is it not on your list? Well, you know, it's specific things, I have to admit. But yeah, looking forward to that list. So that's it from me. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. Check me out on YouTube. At the time of making this, hopefully I've breached 10,000 subscribers. I'm not sure, could be tit and tat, but you know, if I haven't, then please subscribe to the channel and push me past that 10,000 milestone. Failing that, trying to get connected with more people on Twitter. So I'll be interested to get more followers on there. Come find me on Facebook. Come find me in the Facebook groups. I'm even hanging around certain Tabletop Simulator Discord servers. You know, Play TTS and the official TTS server as the Broken Meeple. So hopefully you might be able to find me for a game on there. In addition, I'm kind of thinking about whether streaming some of this stuff would be a good idea. If I could fork out the money for a laptop, find a way to make the lighting and camera system work, it might allow me to do more solo play videos. But mainly, just maybe allow me to do some Q&As live, maybe a live top 10, maybe even a live review. Who knows? Has anybody ever done a live review of a game? I don't know. But it's something I'm considering. Would that be something that would interest you? Let me know in the comments. So take care, I'll see you soon. And regardless of whether you've managed to play a game that you've longed to play and never will, doesn't matter. It's only a game at the end of the day. There's always more else to do. So take care, see you soon.